Let's look at solving trigonometric equations when we want to use substitution. And notice on these ones, we have this domain constraint, 0 to 2 pi. So this is asking me, when is cosine of 3 theta over 2 equal to 1/2? Well, I'm not quite sure. I know where cosine of theta, right, or cosine of an angle equals 1/2, like say on the unit circle, I'm more familiar with that. So I want to turn this into a problem that I can solve or that I'm familiar with or that I wish it was. So what I'm going to do is do a substitution. And you're saying let u equal 3 theta over 2. So I'm coming up with a new variable, I'm calling it u, and I'm saying let's replace 3 theta over 2 with u. And so I can see that u is just 3/2 times theta. So what I want to do is then rewrite my equation. What would that give me? Cosine of u equal to 1/2. And again, u just represents some angle. So if I was just given, like let's say this part was crossed out and I was just given, hey, what's cosine of u equal 1/2? You go, oh, I can solve that. So we're just turning it into something that we know how to solve, even though we know we're not really solving for u, right? They're asking us to solve this equation, which is in terms of theta. So eventually we're going to have to answer it that way, and we certainly can. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is, since we switched our equation over to using u, we're going to switch our little constraint here of using u. So if I plugged in theta equals 0, which is one constraint, then I would get 3/2 times 0 is 0. And if I plugged in the 2 pi, I'd have 3 over 2 times 2 pi is 3 pi. And so now I want to solve cosine of u equal 1/2. And my constraints for u, or sometimes we just say that's the interval for u, is going to be 0 to 3 pi. So sometimes you'll see it like this with these inequalities. You could also see it in interval notation, 0 to 3 pi. All right, so let's give that a try. So if I was just on my unit circle, u is just some angle, right? I'm just solving this like regular. I'm pretending I didn't have to do all this at the beginning. So I go, oh, well, what would that be? I'd say, well, u, if u is the angle pi over 3, then cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. That'll work. And then down here, right, is going to have that same x value, 5 pi over 3. So here I get u equals pi over 3, and then I'm going to get u equals 5 pi over 3. But then notice that I'm not solving between 0 and 2 pi anymore. I'm solving between 0 and 3 pi. So are there any more solutions that I need to like go find given that I'm going past 2 pi? Well, everything I'm finding is within thirds. So what I'm going to do is just kind of remind myself, if I have 3 pi, that's also just 9 pi over 3. So that's like the maximum that I can go to. Well, one kind of lap around the unit circle gives me pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. Well, I want to think about this in terms of coterminal angles. So what if I started to do another lap? What would I get? Well, the pi over 3 plus another full rotation, right? Let's see, what would that give me? I would get u equals pi over 3 plus what's another rotation in terms of thirds, right? It helps to kind of speak that language. 7 pi over 3. 7 pi over 3. Will that work? Yes, it's smaller than my 9 pi over 3. So that I want to keep that one. Okay, great. Let's try it for u is 5 pi over 3. Let's add a full rotation to this one. Here I would get 11 pi over 3. This is too big, right? Because 9 pi over 3 is the max. Okay, so I've actually just found 3 solutions here, and I can erase that part, and I found the 3 that will work. So far I found my solutions in terms of u, but when it was a creation, right, that I came up with. And so I want to answer this in terms of theta since I'm solving this for theta. Okay, so how would I do that? Well, I just replace u back with 3 theta over 2. So since u is 3 theta over 2, I'm going to have 3 theta over 2 is pi over 3. So all I did was take this original first solution, pi over 3, and replace u with 3 theta over 2, which is my original substitution. And now I just need to solve for my theta. So if I solve for the theta, I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'm just going to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/2, which is 2/3. Okay, and what do I get? Well, the 2's cross out, the 3's cross out. That's the whole point here. So theta is, let's see, 2 pi over 9. Okay, great. So let's do that for each of our solutions. So this was like our first u. You think of it as u sub 1, but we can just say the first u. This is 5 pi over 3, so just replace it. So 3 theta over 2 equals 5 pi over 3. Again, 2/3 on both sides to get rid of that, and I get theta is 10 pi over 9, okay? What about this one? Let's see, it ended up being 7 pi over 3. So 3 theta over 2 is 7 pi over 3. And again, times 2/3. We don't want to skip any steps here, show everything. Let me just move this up so it kind of is matching with what I'm doing up here. Okay. That's going to cross out and just give me theta is 14 pi over 9. Now, let's make sure these check in the interval that I was given for theta. My interval for theta is 0 to 2 pi. Well, what is 2 pi in terms of ninths, right? Because I got a bunch of ninths, and it's a little hard to see, like, is this going to fit within 2 pi? It should, because I created them that way, right? I found them that way using my constraints on u, and they're related. But let's just double check, because that's a good way to check your work. So 2 pi, I know, is just 18 pi over 9, right? That's how I could write that in ninths, since 18 divided by 9 is 2. And I can see that 2 pi over 9, 10 pi over 9, and 14 pi over 9 are all bigger than 0, but smaller than my 18 pi over 9. So these are all the solutions that would work in that interval. And so now I'm ready to write my solution set. So my solution set would be 2 pi over 9, 10 pi over 9, and 14 pi over 9. So this is good, and as long as you remember to answer in terms of theta instead of the u that you made up, then we'll be all set. Okay, let's look at another substitution example. Solve cosine of the quantity theta minus pi over 4 equals 1, where theta has a constraint between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so if we're going to use substitution again, it's a good idea just to kind of practice this method. We write let u equals theta minus pi over 4. I always think of the word let as kind of gently letting someone in on the fact that we're going to be using substitution here, and it'll be okay. So let u equal theta minus pi over 4, and then I'm going to do my constraints at the same time. So what would 0 become? Well, 0 is a theta value, right? These are both theta values. So I take my 0 and I just replace it with theta. So 0, u is 0 minus pi over 4. So negative pi over 4 is my new lower bound. I get u is 2 pi minus pi over 4. Remember what 2 pi is? It's really 8 pi over 4. So that results in 7 pi over 4 for my upper bound. So let's put this all together. This gives me now cosine of u equals 1. Much nicer. What's my interval? Lower bound, negative pi over 4. Upper bound, 7 pi over 4. Okay, let's solve. Cosine of u equal 1. Where does that happen on the unit circle? Well, the x value on the unit circle is only one place when u is 0 radians. So u is 0. Does that fit in my given interval? Yes. Okay, good. What if I went around again? I want to go, wait a minute, are there any more, right? What if I tried u is 0 plus 2 pi? Too big, right? This is too big because 2 pi is 8 pi over 4. That's too big for this thing. So, nope. What if we tried to go backwards? What if we did u is 0 minus 2 pi? Minus 2 pi, that's equal to negative 8 pi over 4. That's much too big, right? In terms of going the other direction, it's outside of my interval the other way. Okay, so I found everything, and it's just u equals 0. So now it's my turn to just head back, right? I kind of went to visit in terms of my u's, and now I've got to kind of head back the other way. So what do I do there? Well, I just replace u with what I set it up to represent ahead of time. That was just theta minus pi over 4. So I set that up to equal 0. So all I'm doing is replace your u with theta minus pi over 4, which was your original substitution. Now you're just substituting back, right? So you go, and then you come back. Solve for theta. I get theta is pi over 4. Now, is pi over 4 in 0 to 2 pi? Yes. So feeling good about that. And so my solution set is just pi over 4.